The silence envelops me, profound and unbroken, as I linger in the dim confines of my tent. A heavy fabric above shields me from the chill of the early morning air, and the gentle rustling of the material plays a soft symphony against the backdrop of the world outside. The Greek camp lies shrouded in slumber, the distant sounds of the sea, a gentle lullaby to the weary soldiers. Their rhythmic breathing mingles with the soft lapping waves, whispers of the ocean carrying tales of distant shores and promises of solace that remain just out of reach. Yet, amidst this stillness, a tempest swirls within me. My heart clenches as I anticipate the fate that awaits. The gravity of the decision pulling me toward the battlefield, where chaos reigns and shadows dance with deadly intent. In this moment, I physically feel the weight of my sorrow, gripping me tightly as if the very fabric of grief were encumbering my limbs. I push back against it, readjusting my thoughts as I direct my focus to the simple rituals of preparation. I rise to my feet, the cool ground pressing against my toes, every chill that lingers reminding me of another life, one filled with laughter and sunshine, bright days spent without the specter of war hanging ominously overhead. With each careful movement, I step to the basin of cold water, its surface reflecting the shadows around me like a darkened mirror, a glimpse into my soul, where thoughts mingle like ripples disturbing stillness. As I kneel, I cup my hands, drawing the water toward my face. Crisp, clear drops splash against my skin, each one electrifying in its chill. I feel the refreshing liquid envelop me, like the gentle embrace of a cool breeze on a stifling day, momentarily reviving my spirit. This stark contrast to the heat of the grief that dwells heavily in my chest is a reminder that even sorrow can be quashed, if only for a moment. Each droplet clings briefly to my skin before evaporating under my breath, but during those fleeting seconds, I find something akin to clarity, a spark of resolve beneath the surface. I stand, shaking droplets away, and turn my attention to the next step of my preparation. My linen tunic lies neatly laid beside me, a simple garment of rough fabric that has traveled with me through both hard-fought victories and painful losses. As I slide it over my shoulders, the familiar discomfort presses against my skin. It feels rugged and worn, each thread bearing the weight of untold stories. The warmth of friendships forged in the fires of battle, and the coldness of those who no longer walk this world. Though light, the weight of the fabric is heavy with memories. I approach it as one might greet a beloved companion, each curve and sharp edge eliciting a reverence bubbling within me. The greaves, polished to a shine, feel heavy as I grasp them, their cool surface contrasting against the warmth of my skin. As I lift them and fasten them to my shins, the secure grip fills me with an odd mixture of comfort and foreboding. It is as if they are not just armor, but a binding to my fate. With each piece I adorn, the breastplate that embraces my torso like a protective shell, the helmet that feels both restrictive and reassuring, I sense the weight of destiny settle on my shoulders. This is not mere protection. This is my shroud, a beautiful encasement for my soul's departure when the time comes. The polished steel glints with an ethereal shimmer under the dim light, a shining reminder of the hero's name I carry with pride. But in this moment of preparation, the anticipation of the battle ahead drapes itself around me like a shadow, intertwining with every breath I take. The quiet stillness beyond my tent weighs heavily on my heart, laden with an awareness of the fragility of life, the laughter of comrades, the warmth of fire, and the vast beauty of the world waiting to embrace us all, or to set us adrift on waves of memory. As I stand fully adorned in my armor, I take a moment to breathe, grounding myself in the present atmosphere of my sanctuary. I can hear the soft stirrings of the camp beyond, the muffled sounds of fellow warriors rising to meet the day, and the myriad of rituals beginning anew. The ocean cradles its shore, tides swaying back and forth, a reminder of the cyclical nature of my journey. As I lay my hand upon the cool steel of my sword, I feel the gravity of my choices, and though the battle awaits, I carry within me a promise, a vow to honor those whom I have lost, and those who will fight beside me until the final lullaby of the sea beckons us all back home. As I sit within the confines of the Spartan military tent, the air around me holds the remnants of battles fought and victories gained. I glance down at my hands, strong and calloused, an eternal testament to the years spent in the heat of war. Each groove and scar tells a story, each mark an echo of past skirmishes reminding me of why I bear the weight of leadership. The flickering oil lamp nearby casts dancing shadows along the canvas walls, illuminating the dusty leather armor strewn carelessly beside me, remnants of my last conflict. I can smell the warmth of bronze, mingling with the unmistakable scent of sweat and determination that clings to my skin. It is a familiar comfort, one that wraps around me like an old cloak. I try to steady my breath, feeling the rhythm of my heart slow as I reflect on the day's events. Training the young warriors, seeing the fire in their eyes spark as they engage in combat drills, fills me with pride. Their vigor reminds me of my own youth, where every clash of blades brought me closer to the glory I sought. As the sounds of the night settle, my mind drifts to thoughts of the Achilles of legend, a name carried on tides of melody and song. In tales spun by bards, I am a godlike warrior, but here, under this canvas roof, I am merely a man burdened with the fate of my people. Their expectations weigh heavily on my shoulders. I push aside my wandering thoughts, returning to the present, to focus on rebuilding our strength for the battles yet to come. Outside, the distant sounds of swords clashing and men shouting resonate in the cool night air, sharpening my resolve. Each sound, a reminder of our unyielding fight, of the honor found in every fall and rise, ignites the flame in me once more. I rise, my hands, those calloused instruments of war, clenching firmly as I gather my armor. The night is young, and there are still tales left to weave into the fabric of history. I step into the fray, determined to carve our legacy into the annals of time. As I sit in the confines of this military tent, the familiar scent of worn leather and the faint glimmer of bronze surround me. My strong, calloused hands, forever accustomed to the grip of a sword, rest on my thighs, bearing the marks of countless battles fought for honor and glory. It is early evening, and the single oil lamp flickers beside me, casting dancing shadows that echo the conflicts of my past. I take a moment to reflect on my journey, the weight of my decisions resting heavily on my heart. The air is thick, as if even the atmosphere knows of the trials I endure. The muffled sounds outside the canvas walls remind me of the world beyond, where men prepare for the next skirmish, just as we have done every day. I can almost taste the tension, mingling with the oil used to fuel the lamp, a mixture of anticipation and resolve. I rise to my feet, my body moving with a grace that defies the years of wear and tear, the discipline instilled within me by my upbringing. As I step outside, the cool breeze greets me, carrying with it the distant clamor of soldiers gathering for their evening briefings. My eyes scan the horizon, the fading sun painting the skies, a brilliant orange, a reminder of battles won and lost. Each breath fills me with a surge of motivation, the resolve to lead my men into what lies ahead. Every second spent in quiet contemplation builds up the storm that swells within me, an unquenchable thirst for victory. To lead, to protect, to honor those who have fought beside me, this is my purpose. I can feel my heartbeat quicken, a rhythm echoing my thoughts as the call to arms begins to resonate. Tomorrow will be no different. Tomorrow we will rise once more, united and unyielding. My hands tighten into fists, determination coursing through my veins, for the narrative of my life must continue to be written in the annals of history. As I settled into the familiar confines of the Spartan military tent, the scent of worn leather and the tang of bronze wafted through the air, memories of countless battles echoing in my mind. My strong, calloused hands rested on the rough fabric of the tent, dirt under the nails a testament to my years of war. Each grain of soil seemed to tell a story, tales of triumphs and losses etched into the very fibers of my being. The flickering light from the oil lamp cast shadows that danced across my tent, highlighting the grooves and scars of my skin that spoke of a life lived in the pursuit of glory. I took a moment to breathe, allowing the humid air to fill my lungs, each inhale rich with the essence of life and death that permeated the battlefield. Outside, the distant clash of swords and the cries of warriors reminded me of the curse and calling of my existence. I reflected on the endless cycle of conflict, a constant tug of war that had shaped not just my destiny, but that of my companions, the fate of cities yet unborn. A soft rustling drew my attention. One of my fellow warriors was busy preparing for the day ahead. I could hear the subtle clinking of armor, the whisper of fabric, and the heartfelt murmurs shared amongst brothers readying themselves for the inevitable clash that awaited us. Determined faces emerged around me, each one a mirror reflecting my own resolve. As I glanced down, my hands became an anchor amid the chaos that was our lives. I noticed the subtle interplay of light on the steel of my weapons, their surfaces gleaming with potential energy. I couldn't help but think of the contrast, these tools of death that also offered a fleeting glimpse of permanence in a world of transience. In that moment, I understood that every battle fought was not just a pursuit of honor, but an affirmation of existence in a world that grasped at shadows. With each beat of my heart, I felt the pull of destiny, the sweet taste of victory mingled with the bitterness of impending loss. The day beckoned, and I could only prepare myself for the role I had embraced, the warrior's path laid out before me, illuminated by the flickering lamp that bore witness to my resolve. As I rise with the sun, the first light filtering through the narrow openings of the tent, I feel the familiar weight of my spear rested beside me. My strong, calloused hands reach for it, the touch of the bronze a reassuring constant in my tumultuous life. The scent of the sea wafts through the air, mingling with the earthy aroma of the surrounding landscapes and the distinct smell of worn leather emanating from my armor. Today, like many others, I prepare for battle, knowing the stakes are high, and glory beckons me with every dawn. I step outside my tent, the cool morning air brushing against my skin, invigorating and crisp. Around me, my fellow warriors are rising, some training, others sharpening their weapons, each preparing for the inevitable clash. I engage in a brief exchange with Patroclus, my closest companion, as we walk toward the training grounds. His laughter is warm, a melody of familiarity amidst the chaos that often surrounds us. We speak of our strategies, the land before us etched with the ideas of victory that are so vivid in our minds. My eyes scan the horizon where the sun meets the sea, a stunning display of colors that fuels my spirit. Time slips by as we train, the clang of swords against shields rhythmically punctuating the air. I watch my comrades, their movements like a dance, powerful and fierce, the heat of competition rising among us. Each clash is a reminder of our purpose, a testament to our dedication. After hours of training, I take a moment to reflect beside the campfire, the flickering flames mirroring the thoughts swirling in my mind. The sound of crackling wood and the glowing embers pull me back to simpler moments, yet they quickly return me to the present, where our fates await us. My mind drifts to the latest skirmishes, lessons learned, and the bloodshed endured that has brought us this far. As dusk approaches, I feel the heaviness settle in my bones. Each day is a mix of triumph and despair, and despite the glory surrounding battle, I crave the peace of camaraderie. The moments shared around this fire, I see the stars begin to twinkle overhead, a brilliant canvas against the darkening sky, and I take a deep breath, allowing the chilliness of the night to seep into my soul. It is a reminder that even in chaos, there is beauty. The camp grows quieter as my warriors start to prepare their minds for tomorrow's battles. Retiring to my tent, I glance at my hands again, now smeared with dirt and blood, the marks of a warrior. Yet it satiates me. I close my eyes, ready for sleep, anticipation swirling in my mind, for tomorrow holds new challenges and the ever-elusive promise of glory. Thus I welcome the darkness, embracing the calm before the storm. As the sun began to rise over the horizon, casting golden rays that pierced through the darkness, I felt the familiar weight of my armor resting against my chest, its cold metal a reminder of the battles I had faced. I awoke amid the faint sounds of my comrades stirring, the rustle of leather and muted conversations echoing softly in the Spartan military tent. The scent of oil and aged wood filled the air, mingling with the earthy aroma of the ground that had borne witness to countless struggles. I sat up slowly, my strong, calloused hands stretching out before me, fingers stained with the dirt of my past victories and losses. Each mark told a story, a testament to the life I had chosen on the fields of war. I made my way outside, the cool morning air brushing against my face, invigorating my spirit. The camp was alive with activity. Soldiers moved about with purpose, preparing weapons and food, their laughter providing a stark contrast to the seriousness of our trade. The sight of my men, resilient and steadfast, filled me with a sense of pride. I paused for a moment, watching their camaraderie, each man understanding the weight of his role, each face etched with determination. As I walked towards the training ground, the sounds of clashing swords resonated, a rhythmic symphony of metal against metal. Here I would find solace in combat, the only place where my mind could silence the doubts that crept in during quieter moments. With each stroke of my sword, I felt more alive, the adrenaline coursing through me, igniting a fire that could only be quenched through the heat of battle. My hands gripped the hilt, feeling the roughness of the grip against my palm, steady and unyielding. After an intense session, I took a moment to catch my breath, gazing across the fields where the sun now hung higher, illuminating the sprawling landscape. I reflected on the journey that had led me here, each moment a puzzle piece that completed the grand picture of my life. I thought of my past, the sacrifices made, the friends lost, the enemies fallen. The weight of each memory hung heavily upon my heart, yet it fueled my resolve. Later, as night began to fall, the camp transformed. Shadows danced under the flickering light of oil lamps, the nights filled with stories and laughter. My fellow warriors gathered around the fire, their faces aglow with warmth as they recounted tales of heroism. I listened intently, my heart swelling with admiration. In these moments of shared humanity, even amid the chaos of war, we found a fleeting sense of peace. As I prepared for sleep, I returned to my tent, layered in the comfort of my own space yet still surrounded by the echoes of camaraderie. I closed my eyes, feeling the fabric of war wrapped around me, heavy yet familiar. The rhythm of the night was a lullaby, lulling me towards dreams of glory and honor, where the weight of my hands laid upon my chest surfed between memories and aspirations. As I sit in the dim light of the oil lamp, the flickering flame casts dancing shadows across the canvas walls of the tent, a familiar comfort amidst the chaos that often surrounds us. The thick smell of worn leather and warm bronze fills the space, an olfactory testament to the battles fought and the endurance of my comrades. I take a moment to gaze down at my hands, strong and calloused, a reflection of the years spent in the heat of conflict. The dirt under my nails is a badge of honor, a reminder of the days spent training, the sweat mingling with the earth as I fought and conquered my opponents. The sun had begun to rise behind the mountains earlier that day, casting a golden light that crept through the seams of our tent. I awoke with the first light, the sounds of my fellow warriors stirring around me. The rustle of leather armor being donned, and the clinking of bronze equipment filled the air with a symphony of readiness. I inhaled deeply, feeling the anticipation of another day of training and strategy, each moment vital for the battles that lie ahead. After dressing, I emerged from our tent, the cool morning air wrapping around me like a cloak. The camp was alive with activity, warriors honing their skills, others discussing tactics for our upcoming confrontations. I could hear the repetitive thud of wooden swords against shields, a rhythm that echoed the heartbeats of those preparing for war. As I walked through the rows of tents, my mind began to swirl with thoughts of glory and honor, the desire to protect our fellow warriors fueling my every step. I reached the training grounds, where the smell of sweat and determination hung thick in the air. I took my place amongst my fellow soldiers, our bodies moving in perfect synchronicity as we engaged in drills. Each thrust of my spear, each parry with my shield, ignited a fire within me. I was not just a soldier, I was a leader, a protector. My heart raced with the exertion, the need to push myself harder than the day before. Between drills, there were moments of camaraderie, laughter shared amongst brothers in arms. We spoke of our hopes, of the warriors we aspired to be, our dreams weaving a tapestry of brotherhood and shared purpose. In those moments, I felt the weight of our struggles lighten, replaced by a sense of belonging that bound us together tighter than any chain. As the day wore on, the sun reached its zenith, bathing us in warmth as sweat dripped from our brows. I called for a break, signaling to my comrades. We gathered around a wooden table under the shade of a tree, where food and drink awaited us. I savored each bite, the simple meal a reminder that we are not just warriors, we are also men driven by our desires and shared fate. The laughter returned, stories exchanged of past victories and near defeats, voices rising above the rustling leaves, a moment of peace before the storm of war returned. As the sun began its descent, casting a crimson hue across the sky, I felt a stirring within me. It was time to prepare for the morrow's council meeting. The air grew thick with the weight of anticipation as we discussed our strategy. My mind sharpened by the moments of fleeting joy we had shared. I stood before my fellow soldiers, my voice strong and steady as I recounted our victories and losses, rallying them with every word. I could see the fire in their eyes, the determination mirrored in my own. Nightfall came, wrapping the camp in darkness, the stars twinkling like distant fires. I found solace in my own thoughts as I returned to the tent, feeling the weight of my responsibilities settle on my shoulders. Yet amid the darkness, I could also sense the bond I shared with my brothers. The air remained thick with purpose, as we faced tomorrow together, ready to embrace whatever awaited us with courage and honor. As I sat in the dimly lit Spartan military tent, the flickering oil lamp cast shadows that danced across the canvas walls. The scents of leather and bronze filled the air, a testament to the countless battles I had endured. I looked down at my hands, strong and calloused, dirt still lodged under my nails from the last encounter. Memories flooded my mind, each one a vivid reminder of my prowess and sacrifice. The day had begun like any other, the sounds of warriors preparing for combat echoing around me. I could hear the distant clang of swords and the shouts of my fellow Spartans as they readied themselves for what lay ahead. When I rose from my place on the soft, tattered bedding, I caught sight of my reflection in a polished bronze shield, not my face visible, but an embodiment of the warrior I had become. My body bore the scars of many victories, each scratch a story, each mark a testament to my resolve. I needed to prepare. Today was pivotal. I adorned myself in the familiar armor, each piece fitting snugly against my frame, offering not just protection, but a reminder of my duty. The chatter grew as I stepped outside into the bright sunlight, a stark contrast to the darkness of my tent. The air was crisp, filled with tension and anticipation. My brothers in arms greeted me, their faces a mix of determination and fear. We exchanged nods, a silent understanding passing between us. Together, we would face whatever challenges awaited. As we prepared, the world around us blurred into a blur of movement and energy, all focusing on the imminent clash. As the sun began its descent, painting the sky in hues of orange and red, the ground beneath us trembled with the approach of our enemies. I recalled the countless hours spent training, the sweat pouring down my face as I wielded my sword against foes, both real and imagined. In those moments, I had learned the essence of strength, not merely in muscle, but in spirit. When the battle cries rang out, my heart raced, each beat echoing the resolve within me. I charged ahead, the dust swirling around my boots, my sword gleaming in the fading light. I could feel the adrenaline coursing through my veins, igniting my instincts as I engaged with the enemy. The clash of metal rang out like music, each strike a note in our symphony of war. Through the chaos, I maneuvered with precision, my focus unbreakable. I glanced over at my comrades, fighting alongside me, each swing of my sword a reminder of our shared purpose. I could almost taste victory in the air, intoxicating and sweet. But amidst the euphoria, a sense of loss loomed over me. With every enemy I felled, I felt a weight in my chest, a silent prayer for those who would not return. As dusk settled over the battlefield, I stood tall, surveying the aftermath of our confrontation. the ground was littered with remnants of. The silence that followed was deafening, a stark reminder of the fragility of life. I took a moment to steady my breath, the scent of sweat, blood, and earth mingling in the evening air. Each inhalation filled my lungs, reinforcing my will to endure, to continue fighting, to uphold the honor of my namesake. When I finally returned to the tent, wearied and bruised, I could still feel the remnants of battle within me. I lowered myself back onto the canvas bedding, letting the weight of the day press down upon me. My gaze shifted to the oil lamp, its glow flickering as if mirroring the fire inside me. This was my life, a cycle of conflict and resilience. I closed my eyes, the fatigue wrapping around me like a familiar cloak. But even in rest, my spirit remained unyielding. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, and I would rise once more, ready to face whatever fate had in store for me. As the sun began its descent in the sky, I felt a familiar sense of anticipation fill my chest. The air was warm, carrying the earthy scent of freshly turned soil, mixed with the smokiness of distant campfires. I adjusted my grip on the sword's hilt, feeling the weight of countless battles held in this familiar hand. The sounds of my fellow soldiers echoed around me, laughter, the clanking of armor, and the occasional shout as training drills commenced. Today was a day of constant reflection for me, a restless soldier named Achilles, torn between the glorious past and the uncertain future. As I made my way towards the practice grounds, I took a moment to observe my surroundings, the familiar landscape of towering trees that framed our camp, and the mountains that loomed in the distance. The vibrant greens and browns of nature contrasted with the austere, sparing life of the warrior's path I had chosen. I watched as warriors engaged in fierce duels, their movements fluid and practiced, resembling a dance of death. Each clang of sword against shield reverberated like a heartbeat, pulsing within the very essence of our existence. My eyes fell upon Patroclus, my dear friend, locked in combat with the newer recruit. There was admiration for the sheer tenacity with which he approached each blow, the way his brow furrowed in concentration, and yet, beneath it all, I sensed a deeper yearning, an unspoken desire to prove himself worthy, not just in the eyes of our comrades, but in my own as well. As I approached, I called out to him, "Patroclus, remember, it's not just about power. Control your movements. Let every strike be deliberate." He paused mid-strike, turning to flash me a quick grin, and nodded, his eyes sparkling with determination. In that brief moment, I felt a swell of pride for him. He was becoming more than just a squire. He was emerging into a warrior of his own merit. Suddenly, a cacophony of shouts erupted from another corner of the practice ground. I turned to find a group of younger soldiers training under the watchful eye of an old veteran, who seemed to possess the wisdom of age. The chaos drew me in, and I couldn't help but stride closer, intrigued by the raw energy crackling in the air. The enthusiasm of the newcomers reminded me of my own initiation into warrior's life. They exuded a fresh vigor that was both infectious and nostalgic. I stood there, assessing their rudimentary techniques, how they fell into too many mistakes, too much power without the requisite finesse. I cleared my throat, gathering my thoughts, ready to impart some of the wisdom I had accumulated through years of relentless training. "Gentlemen," I called out, my voice cutting through the din, "hear me. A sword is an extension of your will. It flows as naturally as the wind, and your body must become one with it. Tailor your strikes. Find the balance between strength and grace." The soldiers turned to face me, some in awe, others with uncertainty. I could see the conflict in their eyes, the mixture of reverence and intimidation that my presence invoked. Instead of dissuading them, I felt duty-bound to inspire. I stepped forward, demonstrating a series of moves, letting the sword glide through the air with elegance and precision. I could see the spark ignite within a few of them, hesitant but curious to adopt a cadence that spoke of control rather than chaos. The transformation of energy from confusion to enlightenment filled me with a satisfaction that alleviated some of the burdens I carried. Once the training session concluded, I sought refuge in the far corner of the tent, away from the clamor of my fellow warriors. The dim light of an oil lamp flickered low, painting golden patches on the thick canvas walls. I gazed down at my calloused hands, hands that bore the weight of my legacy, dirt under my nails, remnants of my sacrifices. In that solitary moment, I allowed my thoughts to wander to others, those who had fallen alongside me, whose spirits lingered even in their absence. The memories of past comrades flooded my mind, a bittersweet reminder of the inevitable fragility of life in this relentless pursuit of glory. I could hear the laughter filter in through the seams within the tents, a reminder that, amidst the chaos of war, we shared bonds forged by laughter and sorrow alike. I closed my eyes momentarily, letting the mingling scents of leather and oil envelop me, as I reflected on our shared humanity despite the armor we donned. We were warriors, yes, but in those fleeting moments we were also friends and brothers. Eventually, I returned my attention to the present, steeling myself for the uncertain waiting ahead. Tomorrow would bring its own challenges, but for now, I found solace in the strength pooled in the camaraderie surrounding me. As the flickering light danced across the fabric of the tent, I felt my resolve strengthen, like steel being tempered in fire, ready to face whatever fate awaited, whether it bore the mark of victory or the shadow of defeat. As I sat beneath the dim glow of the oil lamp, the flickering light danced upon the canvas walls of my tent, casting long shadows that mocked the turmoil within me. The air was thick with the scent of worn leather and bronze, remnants of battles fought and victories claimed. My strong, calloused hands, grounded in the moment, rested upon the rough fabric of my tunic, dirt lingering beneath my nails, a testament to the years spent on the battlefield. Each scar on my skin told a story, echoing the clash of swords and the cries of my comrades, reverberating in the silence that enveloped me. I closed my eyes for a moment, allowing the distant sounds of men preparing for the impending battle to wash over me. The soft rustling of leather armor being adjusted and the clanging of bronze equipment prepared for use punctuated the quiet. Outside, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a crimson hue across the sky, a cruel reminder of the blood that would surely stain the earth before the day's end. I had always felt a strange sense of peace before the storm of war. It was a feeling with which I had become all too familiar. I opened my eyes, focusing on the flickering light as it illuminated the modest possessions scattered around me, the dagger by my side, a testament to my skill, and the shield propped against the corner, its surface etched with the marks of prior conflicts. As traditions dictated, I took a moment to reflect on my lineage, the tales of my ancestors resonating in my mind. My thoughts drifted back to the tales my mother told me by the fire, the stories of bravery and honor, and how they shaped my destiny. A figure in my dreams, my mother was the wind beneath my wings, her spirits echoed within me, fortifying my resolve. "You are Achilles, son of Peleus," she had said, her voice echoing in the recesses of my mind. As if conjuring her presence, I could almost feel her hand resting on my shoulder, urging me forward. The camaraderie of my fellow warriors, those brave souls who stood beside me through thick and thin, permeated the tent. I could hear the laughter of Patroclus, his voice booming, a welcome distraction from the anxiety that threatened to engulf me. He had always been my anchor, a steadfast companion in the seething maelstrom of war. "Achilles," he yelled, his youthful exuberance infectious. "Whatever fate has in store for us, let us face it together." His unwavering faith brought strength, easing the heaviness of my thoughts. Moments passed as I prepared myself for what lay ahead. I sharpened my sword, the steel gleaming in the haunting glow of the lamp. The rhythmic scrape of metal against stone was soothing, grounding me in the reality of my mission. I focused intently on the blade, envisioning the battle that awaited us, the heroics that would resonate in the annals of history. I thought of glory, of the legends that would be born from our actions, and the songs that would carry our names through the ages. As shadows fell longer, I stepped out of the tent, absorbing the atmosphere of anticipation that hung in the air. Soldiers moved with purpose, their faces etched with determination, eyes reflecting the unspoken fears of impending conflict. My heart raced as I surveyed the camp, the flickering torches illuminating the warriors preparing for what they knew could be their last stand. The camaraderie was palpable, the brotherhood thickened by the very real threat of loss. With every step I took, I felt the earth vibrate beneath my feet, a reminder of the weight of my lineage and the legacy I was destined to uphold. The vibrant colors of the sunset painted the landscape in hues of blood red, and I couldn't help but feel that the day itself forewarned of the horrors to come. I inhaled deeply, the sense of sweat, iron, and resolve mingling in the air. This was not merely a battle, it was a forging of destinies, an amalgamation of fate and free will. As the call to arms reverberated across camp, I gathered my brothers in arms, their spirits intertwined with mine. We formed a line, a wall of flesh and resolve, bracing ourselves against the tide of chaos. The drums beat steadily, a heart pounding in rhythm with our collective anticipation, echoing the indomitable resolve to fight. I looked into their faces, each warrior holding stories of sacrifice, each driven by an unyielding desire for honor and glory. I knew that the bonds we formed in this moment would transcend the boundaries of life and death, forever etched in the fabric of history. The time for idleness ceased as we marched towards the sound of clashing steel and the fervor of battle songs. I could feel my heart pounding in sync with the rhythmic thud of our feet against the earth. This was it. The culmination of my existence had arrived, enveloped in the chaos that was to unfold. The battlefield stretched before us, a swirling tempest of dust and fury. The sun bore witness to our deeds, hovering ominously over the fray. I could almost taste the tension in the air, the metallic tang of blood that promised to spill as we charged toward our fate. Here, amidst the carnage, lay the essence of our humanity, to fight in the name of love, honor, and respect. As the collision of forces erupted around me, everything came alive. The cries of men, the clash of metal, the oppressive heat of the day, and the realization that this moment was yours, Achilles, the culmination of all that you ever were and hoped to be. My sword, my comrades, and the flames of battle consumed us all in a passionate embrace that would not soon be forgotten. Forever marked as a hero's tale etched in eternity, awaiting recount in the echo of time.